Admiral Taehyun Kim stood by the large window of Earth Command Central. The blue glow from the big screen lit up his tired face. On the screen were messages from alien races. After many years of asking, the Galactic Consortium had finally agreed to meet with humans. Earth had known about aliens for almost 100 years. They had watched from far away as other worlds traded and formed friendships, while Earth stayed alone. "They will meet us at the neutral station near the star Arcturus," said Commander Jiwoo Park. She slid a datapad across the shiny black table. "But we have a problem." Taehyun raised one eyebrow. "There is always a problem. Our spies tell us that 3 alien groups in the consortium have been stopping Earth from joining for years. The Vectar, the Solarian Unity, and the Drell Imperium. They have been taking resources from the edge of our solar system while keeping us isolated." Around the table sat the United Earth Security Council, 12 people who led Earth's military forces. Director Sumin Lee from Intelligence touched her screen. It showed pictures of alien ships at the far end of the solar system. "This meeting is not just a chance for peace," she said plainly. "It is a trap. They will listen to us, make empty promises, and keep taking our resources while holding back our growth." Counselor Do-hyun Kang, usually a quiet man, spoke up. "Then, we should not go to the meeting." "No," Taehyun said firmly. "We go, but not as beggars." He showed plans for Earth's newest warship, the EF's Dauntless. "We send our people on the Dauntless." The room grew quiet. "Are you saying we should threaten aliens who are hundreds of years ahead of us in technology?" asked General Hyejin-bai. Taehyun gave a small smile. "I am saying we should show them that humans will not be pushed around or left out. Sometimes respect is not given freely. It must be taken. The Dauntless is not just a fighting ship," added Chief Engineer Min Jae-yoon. "It is our statement. It shows we know their game and will not play by their rules." After many hours of heated talk, the council agreed. Earth would go to the meeting on its most powerful warship. "I hope this does not start a war between worlds," said Suman with worry. "Actually," replied Taehyun, watching the image of the magnificent Dauntless spin slowly above the table, "this might be the only way to stop one." The meeting room buzzed with tense energy as the council members talked over each other. Taehyun let them argue. This was too important a decision to rush. "It's madness," said General Hyejin, her voice rising above the others. "The Dauntless is our best ship, yes, but against an entire galactic alliance? We would be signing our own death warrant." "Not if we play this right," countered Min-jae. He pulled up more details of the ship on the big screen. "The Dauntless has technology the aliens don't know we have. We've been studying their crashed ships for decades." Taehyun nodded. "The Vectar ship that went down in the Pacific. The Drell scout craft in the Gobi Desert. They think we're still figuring out basic space travel, but we've learned much from their mistakes." Director Suman tapped her fingers on the table. "Our deep space monitors have tracked at least 27 alien mining operations in the Kuiper Belt last year alone. They take our resources and think we're too blind or weak to notice. Or too afraid to respond," added Taehyun. Counselor Do-hyun shook his head. "But a warship? To a peace meeting? There's a reason we don't bring guns to peace talks on Earth." "This isn't Earth," said Jiwoo firmly. "From what we've learned of these species, they only respect strength. The Drell Imperium expanded by conquering 12 systems before joining the consortium. The Vectar have a saying that translates roughly to, 'The weak serve as food for the growing.'" Taehyun looked at each council member in turn. "We've spent 90 years sending polite messages, 90 years of being ignored or told to wait. Meanwhile, they steal from our backyard and work to keep us contained. What has our politeness earned us?" The room fell silent again. "Who would we send?" asked General Hyejin, her tone suggesting she was starting to consider the idea. "I recommend Captain Ji-hoon Choi to command the Dauntless," said Taehyun without hesitation. "He's our best tactician and has studied all known alien combat maneuvers." "And for the diplomatic team?" asked Do-hyun. Director Suman smiled. "Ambassador Yuna Kang. She was a naval officer before joining the diplomatic corps." She knows when to use nice words and when to show teeth. This is still a huge risk, said one of the quieter council members. If the consortium sees this as an act of aggression, Earth could face serious consequences. Taehyun walked to the center of the room. Let me be clear, this is not about starting a fight. This is about changing how they see us. Right now they see humans as primitives they can push around. We need to show them we are equals who demand respect. And if they attack our ship? Asked Hyejin. Then we finally know where we stand, replied Taehyun. Better to learn their true intentions now than wait until they decide Earth's resources are worth taking by force. The Dauntless can defend itself. Min-jae pushed a button showing the ship's weapon systems. Our new shielding is based on Solarian technology. Our missiles use guidance systems similar to Vector designs but improved by our engineers. We're not going in helpless. The council talked for several more hours, going over every detail and possible outcome. Finally, Taehyun called for a vote. All in favor of sending the Earth delegation aboard the EFS Dauntless, please raise your hand. One by one, hands went up around the table. 10 out of 12. It was decided. I'll inform Captain Ji-hoon and Ambassador Yuna immediately, said Taehyun. The Dauntless can be ready to depart in 4 days. As the meeting ended and council members filed out, Sumin stayed behind with Taehyun. Do you really think this will work? She asked quietly. Taehyun looked at the image of Earth rotating slowly on one of the screens. Beautiful, blue, and until now, alone in the galaxy. I think it's time the galaxy learned something about humans, he said. We've spent our history fighting each other, but we've also built peace through strength. The aliens need to understand that while we want friendship, we will not accept being treated as lesser beings. Sumin nodded. I'll make sure our intelligence team briefs Ambassador Yuna on everything we know about these species, their customs, their weaknesses, their fears. Good, said Taehyun. Because in 4 days, humanity takes its first real step into the galactic community, and we're not going to bow our heads as we enter. The Admiral looked once more at the plans for the Dauntless, Earth's pride, its shield, and now its bold statement to the stars. We're going to walk in with our heads high, he said, and they're going to make room for us at the table. Captain Ji-hoon Choi felt the soft shake of the Dauntless's big engines through his boots as the warship came out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Arcturus star system. The crew on the bridge worked in focused quiet, each knowing how important their mission was. Status report, Ji-hoon said calmly, even though tension filled the air. All systems working well, Captain, replied Lieutenant Yunha Yang from her station. Weapons are ready but not active. Shields are at full power. Communications? 7 ships detected at the meeting point, reported Communications Officer Sun Woo-ryu. We're getting docking instructions from the neutral station. Ambassador Yuna, Kang stood beside the captain's chair, looking proper in her formal uniform but standing tall like the Navy officer she used to be. Earth had picked a diplomat with military experience for this mission on purpose. Remember, Captain, she said quietly, our goal is to get Earth into the Galactic Consortium and end our isolation. The Dauntless is here to make a point, not to start a fight. With all respect, Ambassador, we're ready for either outcome, Ji-hoon replied. Your guards have been doubled as you asked. As they got closer to the huge space station, a shining structure of strange shapes that held the neutral meeting grounds, the ship's sensors detected many weapon systems tracking them. They're not hiding that they're aiming at us, noted Security Chief Jae-ho Kwon. They're trying to scare us, Ji-hoon nodded. Then let's respond the same way. Lieutenant Yang, turn on our defense grid and targeting systems. Keep missiles inside, but make sure they know we can see them. The bridge burst into activity as the Dauntless's impressive weapons and defenses came online. The warship was humanity's greatest achievement, using technology from crashed alien ships combined with human innovations. While not as advanced as the consortium ships, the Dauntless had one big advantage. The aliens had underestimated how far human military technology had come. Getting a message from the station, announced Sunwoo. They're concerned about our ship. Ambassador Yuna stepped forward. Put it on screen. The alien face that appeared belonged to a Vectar administrator, its many-faceted eyes showing surprise even across the different species. Earth delegation, you were expected to come in a diplomatic vessel. The station cannot dock military ships of this size. Yuna smiled politely. The EFS Dauntless serves as both our diplomatic vessel and our protection. Given how long Earth has been kept isolated, you'll understand why we're careful. We look forward to good talks. Before the administrator could object further, she continued, Our ship's details were sent as required. If there are security worries, we're happy to discuss them during the first meeting. After a tense silence, the alien reluctantly allowed them to approach. As the Dauntless moved toward its assigned docking spot, Ji-hoon couldn't help but admire the ambassador's calm confidence. Well done, he said softly. The first rule of negotiation, Captain, Yuna replied, is to show that you will not be pushed around. The real work begins once we're inside. The bridge of the Dauntless hummed with quiet energy as they approached the massive station. Through the main view screen, the structure looked impossible, all curved metal and crystal, with ships of various designs docked along its outer ring. Magnify that section, ordered Ji-hoon, pointing to a cluster of vessels near what appeared to be the main entrance. The screen zoomed in, showing alien ships of incredible diversity. A massive Drell warship sat prominently at what was clearly a preferred docking position. Its dark hull was covered with what looked like weapon ports. They brought their guns too, noted Jeho with a grim smile. The difference is, said Ambassador Yuna, they're pretending this is normal protocol while trying to make us feel ashamed for doing the same. Lieutenant Yuna's hands moved quickly over her console. Captain, I'm detecting active scans targeting our hull. They're trying to get detailed readings of our systems. Let them look, Ji-hoon said calmly. Activate countermeasures level 2 only. Show them enough to be respectful, but not enough to give away our advantages. Engineering Officer Dae-hyun Choi's voice came over the comm system. Captain, their scans are more advanced than we expected. Should I initiate full electronic countermeasures? Ji-hoon looked to Ambassador Yuna, who gave a slight nod. Negative, Engineer Dae-hyun. Let them see our standard systems. In fact, power up the main reactor another 10%. Let's show them. We're not hiding. A bold move, Captain, said Yuna with approval. Sometimes the best secrets are hidden in plain sight. The massive space station grew larger in their view. Now they could see beings moving inside the transparent sections, aliens of all shapes and sizes going about their business in what was effectively a city in space. That's, Science Officer Min Ji-han whispered from her station. That's incredible. Stay focused, reminded Ji-hoon. We've trained for this. Everyone remember. Act like we belong here because we do. A new voice came over the communications channel. Earth Vessel Dauntless, this is Station Control. Adjust course to follow the guidance. Beacon to Docking Arm 7. Sun Woo frowned. Captain, Docking Arm 7 is in the secondary ring. That's where they dock cargo ships and vessels of lower status. Ambassador Yuna's expression hardened. Communications Officer, please inform Station Control that as representatives of Earth on our first official visit to the consortium, we will be docking at a primary arm as befits a sovereign nation's delegation. Ji-hoon leaned forward. And add that our navigation systems are calibrated for efficient approaches. The Dauntless requires a primary docking arm for safety reasons. They waited as the message was sent. Tension grew on the bridge as seconds passed without response. Finally, the reply came. Earth Vessel Dauntless. Adjust approach vector for primary. Docking Arm 3. Be advised this is an accommodation, not standard protocol. Yuna and Ji-hoon exchanged small smiles. First victory, the ambassador whispered. Many more to come, Ji-hoon replied. He raised his voice to address the bridge crew. Helm, take us to primary docking arm 3. Nice and steady, let's show them how Earth pilots fly. As the Dauntless gracefully changed course, the crew could see other ships docked at the primary arms, vessels belonging to the major powers of the consortium. Look at their design, said Minji, who couldn't contain her scientific curiosity. The Solarian ships are all curves and biological shapes. The Drell vessels are angular and aggressive. It tells us so much about their cultures. And what does the Dauntless tell them about us? asked Jeho. Ji-hoon looked at the sleek, powerful form of humanity's greatest warship reflected in a shiny section of the station as they approached. It tells them we're serious, he said. It tells them we understand power. And most importantly, it tells them we will not be easily intimidated. The docking sequence began, mechanical arms extending from the station to secure the Earth vessel. Through the viewports, they could see aliens gathering to watch the arrival of humanity's first official delegation. Ambassador Yuna straightened her uniform. Ready your team, Captain. Once those doors open, the real test begins. Ji-hoon nodded and pressed the ship-wide communication button. All hands prepare for docking completion. First contact diplomatic team to the main airlock. Honor guard, take your positions. He looked at Yuna. After you, Ambassador. Let's go make history. As the Dauntless locked into position with a solid clunk that echoed through the hull, humanity prepared to take its first steps into the galactic community, not as beggars or primitives, but as equals demanding respect. The meeting room aboard the neutral station was huge and dome-shaped. A clear ceiling showed the stars above. Ambassador Yuna Kang led the Earth group inside. Captain Ji-hoon stood by her right shoulder, while Science Officer Min-ji Han and Security Chief Jeho flanked them. 6 armed human guards stood a respectful distance behind. In the center of the room was a round table where representatives from 7 different alien species waited. Some looked curious, others seemed angry. Greetings, began the Solarian delegate, Radiant Speaker Vosh, who looked somewhat human-like but glowed with soft light. We welcome Earth to this meeting, though we must express concern about your choice of ship. Yuna bowed politely before sitting down. The concern is noted, but not needed. The Dauntless is both our protection and our statement of independence. The Vector representative, First Emissary Teclan, made a clicking sound that the translation system turned into words. Protection suggests you expect an attack. Does Earth think it is at war with the consortium? Not at all, Yuna replied smoothly. But we know that certain members have been taking resources from our outer solar system, without asking or paying for decades. Such actions might seem hostile to less patient civilizations. The room erupted into alien chatter until the massive Drell representative slammed a scaled arm onto the table. Baseless accusations, the Drell Imperium's voice of dominion growled, through its translator. Humanity is not ready to join galactic affairs. Your species still fights among itself. You've barely figured out faster than light travel. Captain Ji-hoon stepped forward. With respect, we know that the Vector, Solarian Unity, and Drell Imperium have been blocking Earth's admission to the consortium for 93 years. During this same time, mining operations with your markings have taken about 18 billion tons of resources from our Kuiper belt. He turned on a small projector that showed evidence collected by Earth intelligence, flight paths, mining operations, and intercepted messages. Science Officer Min-ji Han spoke next, her voice calm and clear. We've studied technology from your ships that broke down in our system. The evidence suggests you have been actively holding back our technology, including blocking our deep space communications. The smaller alien species, the Quill, Novan, Collective, and Meridian Concord, turned toward the accused parties with expressions that needed no translation. Is this true? Asked the Quill representative, their feathered crest rising in what seemed like anger. A young species often misunderstands what they don't know, dismissed the Solarian diplomat. The consortium has rules for admission that apparently include theft and sabotage, interrupted Ambassador Yuna. Earth comes to this table not as a beggar, but as an equal seeking justice for proven violations of our territory. The Drell representative stood up to its full scary height. Your accusations are meaningless without the power to back them up. Your single warship changes nothing about humanity's place in the galactic order. Captain Ji-hoon activated his communicator. Lieutenant Yang, you may proceed with the demonstration. Thousands of kilometers away, aboard the Dauntless, Lieutenant Honha Yang gave a command. A single missile, not armed but carrying Earth's most advanced sensor package, launched from the warship. It streaked through space very fast, avoiding the station's defense systems easily before stopping precisely 1 meter from the Drell warship's command deck. That missile could have been armed, Ji-hoon stated plainly. Your defense systems didn't see it until it was too late. We have 36 more just like it. Ambassador Yuna continued as if the dramatic display had been planned all along. Earth doesn't want conflict. We want partnership, fair trade, and recognition of our independence. We're ready to forgive past wrongs in exchange for immediate stopping of unauthorized mining and full consortium membership. The room fell silent as the 7 species processed this unexpected turn of events. The silence stretched for nearly a full minute. Captain Ji-hoon stood tall, his hand still on his communicator. Ambassador Yuna sat perfectly still, her face a mask of calm diplomacy. Behind them, the human security team remained at alert, hands near their weapons. Finally, the representative of the Meridian Conquered, a being made of shifting light patterns, spoke. Its voice sounded like gentle music. This is most irregular. In 10,000 cycles of the consortium, no new species has ever made such an entrance. Nor have they needed to, replied Yuna. Our case is unique. The quill representative, a bird-like being with iridescent feathers, leaned forward. I find the evidence presented by Earth most disturbing. If what they claim is true, it is a manipulation of facts, the Drell voice of Dominion interrupted, its scales darkening. With emotion. These humans show their primitive nature by bringing weapons to a diplomatic meeting. Security Chief Jae-ho stepped forward slightly. With respect, your vessel in dock carries 42 missile launchers, 16 energy cannons, and what appears to be a planet cracker weapon. We scanned it thoroughly on approach. This revelation caused more murmuring among the smaller species. The Solarian radiant speaker's glow dimmed slightly. Standard security protocols for a major power. Then you should not object to Earth following the same protocols, Minji said softly. The Novan collective representative, a being composed of hundreds of small floating crystals that formed a roughly humanoid shape, spoke for the first time. The collective has reviewed the data Earth has presented. The mining operations shown match known vector extraction patterns. The communication jamming signals match Solarian security frequencies. This is outrageous, hissed the vector emissary. We will not be judged by a lesser species barely out of its gravity well. Captain Ji-hoon touched his communicator again. Lieutenant Yang, please execute targeting Protocol 2. Aboard the Dauntless, Yuna's fingers flew across her console. A moment later, the lights on the Vector ship docked at the station flickered and went out. A focused electromagnetic pulse, explained Ji-hoon calmly. Harmless but effective. Your ship will reboot in approximately 10 minutes. The Vector emissary's mandibles clicked furiously. This is an act of war. No, said Ambassador Yuna. This is a demonstration of understanding. We know your ships, your weapons, and your weaknesses, because you have underestimated us for decades. We could have responded to your theft with aggression years ago. Instead, we chose to meet you at this table. The Meridian representative's light patterns shifted to a soft blue. I believe we have much to discuss. Perhaps we should reset these negotiations to recognize humanity's clearly demonstrated technological capabilities. You cannot seriously consider, began the Drell voice of Dominion. I believe we must, interrupted the Quill representative. The balance of power in the consortium has remained unchanged for too long. If the big three powers have indeed been violating sovereignty and manipulating membership as Earth claims, perhaps it is time for reform. The Novan collective representative's crystals rearranged in what might have been a nod. The collective agrees. All evidence suggests Earth has been wronged and deserves consideration as an equal. Ambassador Yuna folded her hands on the table. Earth does not seek to disrupt the consortium. We seek only fair treatment and recognition. The resources taken from our system would be a minor matter if they had been obtained through proper trade agreements. What exactly does Earth want? Asked the Meridian representative. 3 things, replied Yuna. First, immediate cessation of all unauthorized mining in our solar system. Second, formal recognition of Earth's sovereign territory extending to the heliopause. Third, Full consortium membership with all rights and responsibilities. And in a exchange? Asked the Solarian, its glow now much dimmer than when the meeting began. In exchange, Earth will not seek compensation for past resource extraction. We will share certain technological innovations we've developed, and we will support the current leadership structure of the consortium. For now. The implied threat in those last two words was not lost on anyone in the room. Captain Jihoon could see the calculations happening behind the eyes of the three major powers. They were realizing that their plan to keep humanity isolated and weak had backfired spectacularly. Not only had Earth developed faster than expected, they had turned their stolen technology against them. The Quill representative's feathers rippled in what looked like amusement. I move that we form a working group to draft membership terms for Earth effective immediately. Seconded, said the Novan Collective. The Meridian Concord supports this motion, added their representative. The three major powers exchanged glances. They were outvoted, and they knew it. The Drell Imperium conditionally accepts this direction, growled their representative. The Reti, Vector, and Solarian delegates reluctantly added their agreement. Ambassador Yuna allowed herself a small smile. Earth appreciates your wisdom. Shall we begin? 3 days of hard talks later, Ambassador Yuna stood on the viewing deck of the Dauntless watching the alien representatives board their ships. Beside her, Admiral Taehyun's hologram nodded with satisfaction. The United Earth Security Council has received and approved the initial membership agreement, the Admiral said. I must admit, Ambassador, I had my doubts. So did I, Yuna confessed. But it turns out bringing a warship to a peace meeting sometimes prevents the need for actual war. Captain Jihoon joined them, datapad in hand. The last of the consortium delegates have left the station. The Drell were especially eager to leave. I imagine so, said Minji Han, who had been very helpful during the technical talks. Having your military superiority challenged so openly must be quite a shock to an empire that has ruled its sector for centuries. The terms of Earth's agreement with the consortium were better than anyone had dared hope. Full membership rights, technology exchange rules, payment for past resource taking, and most importantly, recognition of Earth's territory extending to the edges of the solar system. The Meridian representative told me something interesting before leaving, Yuna said. Apparently, there has been growing unhappiness with the power balance within the consortium. Our unusual approach gave the smaller species the opening they needed to challenge the rule of the Big Three. Admiral Taehyun laughed. So we accidentally started political reform in an interstellar alliance? Not bad for our first diplomatic mission. Though Quill and Novan delegates have already asked for one-on-one meetings, added Jeho, who had made unexpected connections with the security teams of several species. They seem particularly interested in joint defense projects. Jihoon looked out at the stars, where the alien ships were preparing to jump to faster-than-light travel. So bringing our biggest gun to the table didn't just earn us respect, it's giving us allies. Humans have always been adaptable, Yuna said thoughtfully. Throughout our history, we've understood that sometimes peace is best secured through strength. The consortium needed to see that we wouldn't be easily exploited or intimidated. As the Dauntless prepared to return to Earth, the bridge buzzed with quiet excitement. The crew moved with newfound confidence. They had faced the most powerful species in the galaxy and earned their respect. Navigation, plot a course for Earth, ordered Captain Jihoon, settling into his command chair. Lieutenant Yuna, status of our systems? All systems at optimal levels, Captain, she replied. The Vector didn't even scratch our paint with their scan attempts. Jihoon smiled. Good. When we get home, I want the Dauntless looking as sharp as when we left. Earth will want to see its flagship return victorious. Ambassador Yuna studied data on her pad. The final agreement includes 3 major trade routes through our system, with Earth collecting fair transit fees. Our economy will expand dramatically, with access to galactic markets. What about the technology exchange? Asked Minji, joining them on the bridge. Her eyes were bright with excitement. What will we learn from them? What will we share? We're giving them our advancements in quantum computing, Yuna explained. In exchange, the Novan Collective will share their medical technology. Apparently, they were quite impressed with how we've adapted their crashed scout ship's medical bay. Security Chief Jeho laughed. The look on the Drell representative's face when you mentioned that was priceless. They truly believed we were just taking apart their ships, not understanding them. Admiral Taehyun's hologram flickered as he consulted something off-screen. The United Nations is preparing a worldwide announcement. Earth's isolation is officially over. Humanity is about to learn they're part of something much bigger. How will people react, wondered Yuna from her station. With excitement, fear, curiosity, all the things that make us human, replied Yuna. But most importantly, they'll face this new era knowing that Earth stood tall when it mattered. Captain Jihoon's communicator beeped. Captain, this is engineering. The Meridian vessel is hailing us. On screen, Jihoon ordered. The view screen lit up with the shifting light patterns of the Meridian representative. Its melodic voice filled the bridge. Earth vessel Dauntless. The Meridian Concord wishes to offer escort to your system boundary. Consider it a gesture of new friendship. Jihoon glanced at Yuna, who nodded. We accept with gratitude, Meridian. Vessel. It would be an honor to travel together. As the communication ended, the Admiral's hologram looked thoughtful. A smart, diplomatic move on their part. The Meridians are showing the rest of the consortium where they stand. With Earth, said Yuna with satisfaction, they're making it clear to the Big Three that the power dynamics have changed. The Dauntless smoothly detached from the station, its powerful engines humming to life. Through the view screen, they could see the beautiful light vessel of the Meridian, Concord moving into position alongside them. It's strange, Minji mused, watching the stars. 3 days ago, we were alone in the galaxy. Now we have allies, trade partners, and a seat at the cosmic table. All because we didn't blink, said Jihoon. We showed them humanity's strength. Yuna touched the viewport glass gently. Not just our military strength, our strength of will, our determination. The fact that we studied their technology instead of just being afraid of it, that we prepared instead of hiding. Admiral Taehyun nodded. That's what I was counting on when I proposed this mission. Not that we would threaten them with our guns, but that we would impress them with our courage and intelligence. As the ships aligned for the jump to faster than light speed, Lieutenant Yunha turned in her chair. Captain, should I disable our weapons systems for the journey home? No, Jihoon replied. Standard protocol is to maintain full readiness while in foreign space. Our new friends will understand. Peace through strength. Peace through strength, echoed Yuna. The Dauntless and its Meridian escort accelerated smoothly and vanished into the depths of space, leaving the neutral station behind. In the void they left, something had fundamentally changed. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage. Back on Earth, the news of the successful mission spread quickly. Crowds gathered in major cities, looking up at the sky with new understanding. The stars were no longer distant and unreachable. They were filling with potential friends, allies, and yes, rivals, but humanity would face them all as equals. In Earth Command Central, the United Earth Security Council was already planning the next steps. More ships like the Dauntless would be built. Trade centers would be established. Educational programs about alien cultures would begin. It worked, said Counselor Do-hyun, watching the celebrations on screens around the room. Taehyun's gamble actually worked. It wasn't a gamble, replied Director Suman, smiling. It was understanding psychology, even alien psychology. Everyone, respect strength used wisely. As the Dauntless raced homeward through the stars, it carried not just a delegation returning from a mission, but humanity's new place in the universe. Earth had sent a warship to a diplomatic meeting. And it had worked perfectly.